Hello and welcome to Stretford, Paddock. This is the Transfer Report, a new show where we will be looking at every transfer going on for Manchester United, but giving you the details, not just this, United are close to signing Sancho. We want to know, who is Jadon Sancho? Why is he better than what we've got now? Who is Kieran Trippier? Why is he better than what we've got now? This is the details, the background, the stats that take these transfers from being, United are linked with this person to, here's why we need Jadon Sancho. So let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the video. But first of all, let's get straight into the news then, because it doesn't stop, does it? This time of year, the transfer stories do not stop. So the first person we're going to be talking about is Kieran Trippier. Now, Man United have been linked with him since January. We've been linked with Kieran Trippier, and there's a reason why we're linked with him. So let's just get straight into some of the stats. The story basically is from the MEN. United have got the ball rolling on a deal for Kieran Trippier. He has reverted to a UK mobile number. So whatever you think that means, his family have settled back in Manchester, and his wife Charlotte has, this is in quotes, pallied up with Fern Hawkins and Anushka Santos, which are apparently Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw's partners. So, if you needed any more evidence we were signing him, he's already got his mates back here. Also, he's a boyhood Man United fan, and his family apparently still live in Bury as well, so just around the corner. Some people call it Manchester, some people call it Lancashire. Call it what you want, it's nearby. Let's have a look at why United want Kieran Trippier, because we only bought Wan-Bissaka 2 years ago. He's a young right back. I think he's 22 years old now, Wan-Bissaka. It's not like he's getting on. It's not like he needs replacing. But one flaw that we all kind of know from watching Aaron Wan-Bissaka is that going forward, he isn't great. Let's have a look at some of the stats that sort of take Kieran Trippier from, isn't he just sort of England's backup left back, to why Manchester United need him. So 6 assists in 35 appearances, which, pretty good for a right back. But he has 0.8 assists per 90. So, the average for a fullback, by the way, and this is all of the fullbacks in the top 5 leagues. The average for a fullback is 0.1, which puts him in the 86th percentile, which basically means only 14% of fullbacks get more assists than him. He's one of the best assisting fullbacks in Europe. He also makes 2.53 passes into the penalty area, where the average is 1.14, which puts him in the 99th percentile, which again means he's better than 99% of fullbacks at getting the ball into the box. Now, if we compare that to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he has 0.71 passes into the penalty area, which puts him in the 17th percentile, which means that only 17% of fullbacks are worse than Aaron Wan-Bissaka at getting the ball in the box. And again, this is something you kind of feel when you're watching Manchester United play, when you're watching Aaron Wan-Bissaka play. But when you actually see the data in front of you, when you actually see that Kieran Trippier is one of the best fullbacks in Europe at getting the ball from the touchline into the box, and you see that Aaron Wan-Bissaka again is only better than 17% of fullbacks, you see why we need that other option. A couple more stats. He has 2.8 shot creating actions per 90, so basically passes that lead to shots, and again the average is 1.8, so is a full pass per 90 or shot creating action per 90 better than average, which again puts him in the 92nd percentile. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, on the other hand, only 1.42 shot creating actions per 90, which puts him in the 33rd percentile. So again, it's he's better than 33%. Well, Trippier's better than 92%. So he's one of the best players, the best fullbacks in Europe at getting the ball and creating chances, or allowing his teammates to create chances from his actions. One downside to Trippier, defensively, as we know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is brilliant at that. He makes 1.85 blocks per 90. This is Kieran Trippier, which puts him in the 40th percentile. So 60% of fullbacks are better at blocking the ball than him, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka makes a utterly sensational 3.12 blocks per 90, which puts him unpredictably in the 99th percentile. He's literally as good as it gets defensively one-on-one, we know that. So it's just a case of, are Manchester United basically trying to cover what Aaron Wan-Bissaka lacks offensively? And, we all see it when we're watching, but these stats here really show that Wan-Bissaka does struggle to get the ball in the box, to allow his teammates to create shots based on his actions, whereas Kieran Trippier, if you didn't need the stats already, is one of the best in Europe at doing that. again, a couple more of these stats before we move on. Trippier makes 2.2 tackles per 90, which puts him in the 64th percentile. Aaron Wan-Bissaka makes 3 tackles per 90, which puts him in the 90th percentile. We know that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is an elite defender. He gets dribbled past half as many times as the average Wan-Bissaka, whereas Kieran Trippier gets dribbled past slightly more than the average. So it is literally a case of one's your attacking fullback, one's your defensive fullback. We already know against the likes of Man City, against the likes of Liverpool, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the standout player maybe in the world at one-on-one defending. Raheem Sterling, he hasn't had a great season, but he's been in the pocket of Aaron Wan-Bissaka for 3 years now. Even when he was at Crystal Palace, it was the same thing. So it's literally just a case of you've got your attacking one, you've got your defensive one. And I think United need that because, whilst we've got Ethan Laird, who can obviously do a lot of that offensive work, he's really only had one proper season of not being injured and playing first-team football, and that was for League One MK Dons. So we need someone that's got a lot of experience. It makes sense for his career. He's just gone over to Spain. He's won La Liga for Atletico Madrid. Maybe now he's getting into his 30s. He wants to come back to Manchester to bury. He's a Manchester United fan. We need someone that can do what he does. And let me know in the comments what you think as well, because I think it's not going to be the case that we get Kieran Trippier and he plays 8 games next season. He's not going to do what Brandon Williams did. I think it's going to be he gets 30 to 35 appearances, much like maybe someone like Van der Beek or Matic plays a lot of games. We have midfielders who all of them have played sort of 30 games each. I think Trippier is going to get a lot of games if he signs for Manchester United next season, and those stats to me say he has a very big role to play in, Manchester United control 50 to 60% possession in around 80% of games. Kieran Trippier can capitalise and make the most of that possession in a way that maybe Wan-Bissaka can't. So I think personally, he would be a very good sign in a lot of games. Corey Porter in the comments says, trying to sign Trippier, dead club. Trippier just won the La Liga with Atletico as their fullback. So it's hard to say that he's particularly shit, isn't it? Right, people as well, Ratchet saying, don't need him, Sancho will help Wan-Bissaka. We've got more important things to fix. I agree that we've got more important things to fix, but again, the point with Kieran Trippier is the rumoured price is around 15 to 18 million pounds, which is very affordable for Manchester United, even as a second, third, fourth, fifth signing this summer. We spent that on, Facundo Pellistri last summer. He hasn't even played. So I think getting someone in like Kieran Trippier, who, as I've said, I believe will play sort of, 20 to 40 games next season or 20 to 30 games next season, I don't think that's a bad signing at all. Right, let's move on to Jadon Sancho then, because, again, this one keeps rumbling on. It seems as though with Jadon Sancho, it's a case of when, not if. And at some point, this deal is going to happen. And, Sky Sports are saying we're 11 million away in our evaluation, which, again, isn't that much. ESPN saying we're closing in on a £77 million deal for Jadon Sancho. It looks as though this one is close to happening. But again, what does he bring that we don't have already? And I think that's the question, because it's easy to just say, oh, well, look at him. He gets good goals and assists. But last season, he did decent goals and assists. It wasn't amazing by any stretch of the imagination. I think it was 15 goals, 11 assists, which is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but it's not Jadon Sancho the season before or Jadon Sancho the season before that. In terms of some of his stats, then, what Jadon Sancho will actually bring to Manchester United, he makes 51 passes completed per 90. So on an average game, he makes 51 passes. The average is 30. And again, this is for wingers and attacking midfielders in Europe's top 5 leagues last season. So that puts him in the 99th percentile. Again, 2.96 key passes, 98th percentile. 6.31 progressive passes, 97th percentile. 0.91 goal creating actions per 90. The average is 0.44. It's more than double the average. That puts him in the 98th percentile. He's literally one of the best creative attackers in the world. And again, all these stats where it's progressive carries, shot creating chances, progressive passes, everything is basically geared to getting the ball and taking it towards the goal. And he makes his team more goals than the 99% of players in Europe, which is just staggering, really. And again, let's compare him to Mason Greenwood. And this isn't supposed to be knocking Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood is an incredibly talented youngster who played most of his career through the youth levels as a number 9, is now being asked to play out wide as a winger. He isn't going to be playing as a winger for his full career. And also, we need more than one option on the right-hand side. Mason Greenwood, key passes per 90. He's in the 52nd percentile, so he's, average. That was just passes per 90. Key passes per 90, he makes just 0.68, where the average is 1.56, which puts him in the 4th percentile. Again, Mason Greenwood isn't a creative winger. That's not what he's done. He is an incredible finisher, a great goal scorer, and a number 9. So this isn't meant to knock Mason Greenwood whatsoever. In terms of progressive passes, again, just a 14th percentile, as in he's better than only 14% of other players in that position. This isn't meant to be a knock on Mason Greenwood. This is showing the level that we're talking about when it comes to Jadon Sancho. Again, a player that is in the 95th or better percentile in all of those stats. The difference is there to see, isn't it? And I think the other thing with Jadon Sancho is he's had a bit of a dip last season, or a bit of a dip. He's still, double digits goals and assists, which most attacking players can't say they've done. But that means that we're getting him for 30 million less than he would have been last season. Like, we were talking 110 million last season. Well, now it's 77 million. That's a huge difference. That's an absolutely massive difference for a player that, by all metrics, whether it's just watching him, whether it's just getting a feel for how he plays, especially for Dortmund, or by looking at the statistics. All of these stats, by the way, are from fbref.com, if you want to check them out yourself. Regardless of how you want to do it, Jadon Sancho is one of the great attacking players in Europe, regardless of his age. You don't even have to say, for his age, he's very good. You look at these stats, he's one of the best players at bringing the ball forward, making chances for his teammates, creating goals for his teammates, creating shots for his teammates, putting the ball in the box, goal carrying actions, progressive carrying distance. So not only does he get the ball and make little passes, he gets the ball and takes it up the pitch. Again, he's in the 97th percentile for doing that. So he's one of the best attacking footballers in the world already. And the idea that we're going to get him for, essentially a third off what they wanted last season, to me, is a sensational deal. Let me know what you think anyway. Let me know if you think that Jadon Sancho is the right man. I know a lot of people have been looking sort of almost like we're looking past Jadon Sancho now. Like, that deal's done, that's sorted, we're fine. But for me, it's still a massive distance to get this over the line. After we were stung last summer, I was there on transfer deadline day at 11:15 saying, I still think this one's going to happen, boys. And it didn't, because we were so confident it would, and it didn't happen. We've still got to get this over the line. But again, you look at the comparison of what we have now in terms of creative abilities on that right-hand side, and look at what Jadon Sancho would bring to that position. The difference is absolutely night and day. Someone said a third, your maths is horrible. A third of 120 is about 40. Take 40 off 120, it's 70, and we're paying 77 million. It's not that far off, is it? Just some quick maths out my head. But I'm not gonna sit here and be told my maths is horrible when I'm doing mental maths while I'm trying to speak at the same time, and it wasn't even that far off. Get out of town. Right. Anthony Martial's the next one. He's been linked with Real Madrid. Now, this has been rumoured as part of a potential deal to go alongside Manchester United getting Rafael Varane, who we will be covering in full detail on the watch along tonight on Twitch. We'll be putting all the links out on social media and in the community tab as well here on YouTube. So if you want to check out our Twitch, twitch.com/Stretford Paddock. It's as simple as that. We're doing a watch along for the first real big game of the Euros, France versus Germany, live at 7:30 tonight. It's going to be me and Jay on that one, so make sure you check that out. Anthony Martial, again, let's have a look at last season. 2.44 shots per 90, which puts him in the 50th percentile, just, average. 50% of his shots are on target, which puts him in the 91st percentile. We've always known he's not wasteful with his shots, but the problem is, as we've seen before, he's only taking an average amount of shots. He needs to be taking more than that. 50% of his shots are on target. Again, like I said there, his XG is 0.39 per 90. Essentially, the way he plays, he's expected to score just under a goal every other game, which again puts him in the 48th percentile. These are sort of average stats. He scored 7 goals and got 9 assists in 32 appearances last season, which isn't as bad as it seemed, but I think only 4 of those were in the Premier League, and it's a huge step down from where he was the season before. To me, and again, I'm not saying I think this will happen, I think the idea of Anthony Martial going to Real Madrid, this is a Real Madrid type signing. They love a signing like this, where they've got, hang on a sec, why have you got him? They did it with, Javier Hernandez. They've done it, loads in the past. You go back to people like Thomas Gravesen, Arjen Robben, Royston Drenthe, another one that springs to mind where you kind of go, what's gone on there? And Barcelona do it as well. They like to get these players in that you're kind of taking a risk on, but they've got a very good sort of talent ceiling. They did it with Thomas Vermaelen at Barcelona, where you're like, why have they got him? But actually, on his day, he's brilliant. And I think Anthony Martial's the kind of player that Real Madrid might just take a punt on. People saying he's not clinical, certainly not as a striker. He's a left winger. To be honest, I agree with that. I know he's had his best goal-scoring season as a striker. I don't think he scored any penalties, or if he did, it was one penalty. In the season, he got 23 goals the year before last, but it's not enough to just do it once. You can't have an average goals of 15 and want to be Manchester United's number one striker. That's what the second striker should be getting. United need... If United want to be one of the best teams in the world, we need to have one of the best strikers in the world. You look at all the top teams, other than Chelsea, who won the Champions League, I don't think they had a player that scored more than 15 goals last season. But generally speaking, the top teams in Europe have a 30-goal-a-season man, or thereabouts. And it's not just one season. It's, Aguero every year is getting between 25 and 30 goals. Kane every year. Messi and Ronaldo are on another planet. Lewandowski, another planet. Mbappe, same thing. Haaland, same thing. All of the top teams, again, other than Chelsea, have players that score you 25 goals a season every season. And I think at some point United need to hold our striker to that standard. And yes, he's got talent, and yes, he can dribble well, and like we said, he hits the target well with his shots. He's got a very good conversion rate. But that doesn't matter if you're only getting 15 goals a season, because at some point we need more than that if we want to start winning the big trophies. And you look in '99, you look in 2008, Ronaldo 42 goals. I think Dwight York got over 30 goals in '99 as well, and then you had Andy Cole backing him up with a decent amount of goals too. You can't have your main striker getting 15 goals. You just can't. But yeah, people say Madrid need to double Martial's wages to 350 or 400k. I don't think that's going to happen, is it? Someone saying, I think a 20 to 30 goal striker is good enough for us. It is, but they have to do that every season. That's the thing. If Martial can get us 25 goals a season every time, or, it averages at 25 over 5 seasons, like Rooney used to do the same thing. One year might get you 18, but then he'd get you 30, then he'd get you 23, then he'd get you 30. He's averaging at 25 goals a season. Martial's averaging at 15 goals a season, which, if he wants to be a winger, great. I think Marcus Rashford got something like 20 goals last season. But again, he got 20 goals a season before, and he got 15 goals a season before that. So he's boosting that average. You can't have 23-7, 23-7, because you can't rely on that, and you can't build a team around that. Is it a joke Madrid want Martial? I don't think it is. I think this is the sort of transfer that could happen. Again, Real Madrid don't always go out and spend a load of money. They spend a lot of money on certain players, and then they try and find bargains in other areas. And I think he's a proven player in front of goal. If he gets enough chances, he can score those goals. The problem is he doesn't find ways to have enough shots. Again, he's averaging, just an average amount of shots, and that's for every striker in the top 5 leagues. That's not just comparing him with like Lewandowski and Ronaldo. This is a person who has got a very good conversion rate. He hits the target well. But if you're not having, you need to be having more shots than the average striker if you want to be a better than average striker, which presumably does. Because let's not forget, the average striker isn't, Suarez. The average striker is, Giroud or someone like that, who is actually pretty good. Latest reports say that Man United have offered 34 million for Ronaldo. We'll see about that. If that does happen, we'll be covering the fuck out of it. So you don't need to worry about that. But I don't know about that one. Certainly during the Euros, I would worry that that's going to be happening anytime soon. Berhan Ater says Martial is insanely overrated. Scored 17 goals in the Prem with no penalties, and 2 months out had a bad season. Now everyone wants him out. Overhated, sorry, not overrated. I think, again, for me, the problem isn't with Martial is, can he score goals? Again, 17 goals in the Premier League with no penalties. That's very nice. But you can't then have 4 the next season. Manchester United need consistency as much as they need quality. Because if, what's he offered this season? Nothing. How many seasons do you get to offer nothing? It can't be more than one, really, can it? Would you buy Ronaldo for 30 million? Yeah, I would. I would be. again, thank you for joining us for this transfer. But this is just the first one. We're going to be doing a lot of these as United are linked with more players. And again, we're kind of bringing more of the stats, the background, why United actually want these players. Because when United are, scouting and looking for people to sign for Manchester United, they're not just going, who's good on FIFA, who gets loads of goals. Part of it is who gets loads of goals, but other part of it is things like bringing the ball forward, how they get out from defensive positions, how they play the ball into the box. Do the stats back up the way that the manager wants to play and the way the manager wants to put these players into our system? Again, a couple of the stats from Jadon Sancho. He has 64 passes attempted per 90, which is the 98th percentile. 51 passes completed per 90, which is the 99th percentile. He's not just someone who gets goals. He's a world-class creator, and he brings the ball forward. He's got 6 progressive passes per 90, 97th percentile. And that's what we're going to be bringing you here on the transfer report. It's not just going to be me. We're going to be getting Steve involved. We're going to be getting Adam involved, Jay involved as well. So make sure you check out the transfer report, where we're just going to bring you a bit more detail. Yes, we can tell you the stories that are happening, but here's why they're happening. Here's why these players are coveted. Here's why Manchester United want Jadon Sancho, why he wants Kieran Trippier. Again, we've already shown you he's one of the elite creators. He doesn't get the most assists, but he gets more assists than most, if you know what I mean. So he's a very good player for the price. Again, any updates, any transfers that do take place, we'll be bringing you them here on Stretford Paddock. And again, if you haven't already, go to twitch.com/Stretford Paddock. And we'll be there at 7:30 tonight, bringing you a watch-along for France versus Germany, the first real mega game of the Euros. Thank you to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.